Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris Bryant, this is Show Me Repair. And today we have a 2017 Ford Expedition. Wow, I had trouble getting that out. Ford Expedition with low power, and it's making a rattling, I guess the customer explained it as like a squirrel cage kind of noise, or a hamster wheel, or whatever you want to call it. You can hear something moving around, and it was actually sent to me from another shop. It's a used car lot, and he does a lot of repairs as well. Good mechanic, but this one's just kind of over his head. So from the noise that we're getting and what the customer explained to me, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a turbo. But right now, I'm going to take you along. We're going to figure out what's the easiest way, if you heard this, that you could go in and figure out what's wrong with your turbo. Well, we're going to show you. Okay, so that is pretty self-explanatory what is going on. You guys saw that in the video. The turbo wheel, at first I was second guessing myself, and started up, could hear the noise, was watching it on the video, or I was watching it live, and I'm thinking to myself, that thing's, I mean, it's spinning, but then it finally stopped, which a turbo could stop, but normally they don't. Normally they keep spinning a little bit, keep going. I mean, it doesn't look like they're spinning very much sometimes, but you wouldn't want to stick your finger in it. So the fact that it stopped, and then the engine idled up again and started spinning the wheel, and you can see it shake and carry on, definitely tells me that it's a turbo. I did pull the, well, I didn't pull anything more out, but I was able to sink my hand down in there and actually get my fingers in the turbo enough to actually wiggle the compressor wheel around. It's definitely loose. It's definitely bad. It's been hitting the housing. I did that on the driver's side also. I checked on that side. That side's not making the noise. I can get my hand down in there and wiggle the compressor wheel. It's got some play. This thing that scares me on that side is I should be able to turn that compressor wheel relatively easy. You'll feel some drag sometimes, and this is always hard to explain to people until you have checked enough turbos, or checked enough vehicles, diagnosed them, and felt what you're feeling. It's hard to go off of it, because the guy that looked at this originally checked the turbos and was like, oh, they feel fine, what I could tell. And this one isn't. I probably could have felt it. I probably could have said, no, that one's got more play, or isn't spinning like I want to feel it spin. The driver's side didn't spin the way I wanted to spin. I basically lightly put my finger on the compressor wheel and try to spin it, and there's some resistance to it. So that one might be getting ready to go too. My biggest concern is, why do we have turbos failing? Do we have a lack of maintenance? It's an Expedition. It probably gets idled a lot. It probably gets run over on oil changes a lot. I don't really know the maintenance life on this, but I'm going to talk to the customer, do a little more diving into it, and try to figure out exactly what may have caused this, or do we have anything else going on that we can address to make sure this doesn't happen again. Are they possibly going too long on oil changes? The biggest thing that I don't like on most vehicles is I don't like the oil change minder. I don't believe it works properly. I've been told by manufacturers that, well, mainly Ford, because that's what I'm used to, that some models it's basically just a mileage and timer thing, and then other models actually pay attention to engine oil temp to see how quickly that warms up and everything. But I don't believe it on these, because I've seen I think it was a 2017 newer body style, not positive, when I was still at the dealership. A customer came in, engine wouldn't start. We told him it was locked up. He didn't believe us. He says he does maintenance religiously. He follows that oil change minder perfectly. When it says do an oil change, within a day he's doing an oil change. Come to find out, the more talking to him and getting information out of him, this guy starts the truck up in the morning, doesn't shut it off to fuel. He's, you know, you're supposed to, but whatever. And he works out of his truck, and so he lets it idle all day long. If he's not driving somewhere, it's idling. So his oil minder was not keeping up with the idle time that that truck was seeing. And he was, I think that was the second engine he was on that truck, and he just thought it was the biggest pile of crap because it was going through engines. Well, it was a lack of maintenance. So you can't fix stupid. I don't get it. But the customer kind of has a little bit of ground to stand on when the manufacturer designs it with an oil change minder, and they're following that exactly. You know, maybe the manufacturer needs to do a little bit more. But anyway, I'm going to dig a little further. I will update you as soon as I know something. I got the white Expedition back in, and I wanted to do a little more digging on it. We obviously found out that the turbo was bad on it, on the right side, the passenger side turbo. But I want to do a little more digging to figure out if something else caused it. Do we have an oiling issue? Do we have a lack of maintenance? I think I was talking about that before. Right now though, we're going to pull the oil filter, cut it open and inspect. We'll probably see some metal from the turbo draining, but I don't want to see a lot, basically what I'm getting at. So I just want to dig a little bit further, make sure we don't do a repair that's wasted. So let's remove the oil filter. Why is it always somebody cranks those oil filters on? It's got to be hand tight, people. Come on. Oh, this is great. It's crushing the oil filter. I love these things. They actually work to get the oil filters off. But I had to crank on it. I mean, I was up in there cranking on that thing, so don't tighten the oil filters that tight. God. And this thing was crushed. When I pull it out of there, you can kind of see it's crushed on the side there, crushed there. I actually punctured it the first go around, so okay, let's cut it open. Fun to get out. Just grab it right there. Okay. Shine the flashlight over. I really don't see anything that scares me in here. Just little stuff, which I'm suspecting is from the turbo. I like that. I don't see any bronze, which actually if the bearing's failing in the turbo, we'd see that. But the big thing I don't like, I'm going to show you here. Just my opinion. I don't know if it's really anything. Here's the unfiltered side. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a light brown. Then there's this side. It's black. And I'm pretty sure what that is it's just the crap in there. And the filter's probably overloading, and so we could kind of, it's doing what it's supposed to do, but I think we're going too long on oil changes. That's what I think. There's no oil sticker in the windshield, and The oil life is on 30%, so that may give an indication. I'm not going to say that's exactly it, because I mean, I could talk to the customer and they could tell me other, and that's fine. I'm not here to accuse anybody of anything. I just want to make sure we do a quality fix and try to catch anything and not waste money. So let me get all the quotes together, talk to the customer, and I'll update you guys soon. Okay, we're gonna get back on this white Expedition today. I got the okay by the customer to put a turbo on it, and we're gonna do the turbo and the coolant lines, coolant fittings that go into the engine. Something else there. We'll do an oil change with that as well. I think that's it. Did I say anything else? No, I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. So let's get started on pulling this turbo off. Okay, the next thing we want to do is get the intake pipe from the air filter assembly. Now we don't have to take the air filter assembly out, but the pipe going to from the intake manifold or intake housing where the air filter is to the turbo out. Then we need to take the one out that goes from the turbo to the intercooler. Okay, I'm going to go after this boot, this upper one, and I'm going to go after the clamp on the intercooler side. Okay, next we're going to go after the starter. I can't remember. I already disconnected the battery. I think there's only 2 bolts to the starter. I'm probably wrong, but tighten the hell out of those. Wow. Okay, next we're going to go after is the oil feed and drain. Next thing, yeah, if I can talk, sometimes, yeah, okay. Next, we're going to take off the exhaust downpipe bolts, 2 15mm bolts. You'll be able to see that one, not the other one. And then I'll go after, I'm draining the coolant now. That's what you guys are hearing in the background run. And then after those, we're going to go after the coolant lines. On the coolant line on the top, the bottom one, if I remember correctly, is kind of a pain to get to, and we won't really be able to get to it until after we pull the bolts loose at the exhaust manifold for the turbo. And those I'm going to heat quite a bit. These down ones I'm going to heat a little bit too. And the next thing would be this Jiffy type fitting that we need to pull the clip out of. Some people make these really difficult to do. Yes, they make a tool for this, but if you get a pick, I just have a small pick with the right angle, there you can see it. This will make, it'll do just fine. Because once we get that clip out, if you were to use that fitting, you can put that clip back in. Yeah, I already found the right one. You just gotta find where the end of the clip is. And there it is. That's what that looks like. like that, and you can put these back in, no problem, and reuse the fitting. I haven't got all the coolant out yet. Okay, the last three things we gotta get here are these mounting bolts where the turbo mounts to the manifold. And I'm caking that, but it's gonna be okay. Okay, so the last thing we need to pull off here to get that turbo off is that lower radiator hose, the cooling line, whatever you want to call it. It's a hard line. It's got a Jiffy type fitting, and it's always a pain. I'm not going to be able to get the camera in there. Got that lower coolant line disconnected, and now I'm going to try to wiggle the turbo my way to get it off that. It's leaking. There we are, it's off. I don't remember it fighting me this much the last time. Last few times, I don't know how many. Stuff. You gotta watch out too, this gasket for this flange. I don't know if you guys can see it. I think it's sharp, so you'll make sure you don't cut yourself. You know what I bet you that's fighting me? Is normally the trucks don't have these AC and cooler lines, so I bet you that's what's fighting me a little bit. It's not right to come out easy. I had to hold my tongue right. Got it. You hear that? The shaft broke, I think. Yep. Okay, right now I'm going after the Jiffy tight connection for the coolant line on the back of the engine. Looks like this. These just pop out. This is what it looks like. But I can use my bore scope and the Jiffy tight tool, and I think I should be able to get it. Oh, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Let's get you guys. Well, it's gonna take longer. see if you can guys see it. Let's see if you can guys see it. Does that even make any sense? God. Okay. Spin my picker. There we are. Yep, there it goes. Got it out. If you don't have a bore scope, do yourself a favor and buy one. There's cheaper ones online. You don't have to get this snap-on one. I bought this snap-on one years ago. And then right after they came out with this one, I think the following year they came out with the bigger screen. To trade in, I still had to pay an outrageous amount. Now that we have the lower or upper coolant tube out, I've got a new one of these. I personally like to replace these when I replace any of the Jiffy type fittings. I just feel as over time the O-rings start to leak, and then these usually get a groove in them, and I've replaced these before, and obviously the Jiffy type fitting leaks still. I replaced just the fittings and had a leak, so I usually do them in pairs. Okay, so I kind of didn't pick up the camera for a while. The lower coolant hose and the oil feed line, which I want to replace the screen, as you can see here, is behind the AC compressor. Back over here, I've dropped the AC compressor. You can see this is the oil feed line, and it runs up there towards the front of the engine. Here is the coolant feed line or coolant return that goes from the back. I need to replace that still. But I just removed the oil, the old screen, and let me show you something. I think I found my problem, or what caused this. I will put the new screen is on the right. It'll probably be pretty easy to see. But look at that. It is caked up. What do you think caused that? I'm going to say extended oil changes and sludge. That's nasty. Real nasty. Okay, to torque these rear studs, so I got the new turbo here. I already removed this flange from the old one. I have a stud remover that looks like this. You can buy it at most parts stores anymore. You can buy stud remover kits that are more slim, but I like that one. Anyway, so I got these off. Now I've already torqued this one. The way I torque them, I know you're supposed to replace studs, but I forgot, and these were in good shape. Everything came off properly. I had no damage to the threads on either end, so all I'm doing is installing this flange on the new turbo with the new gasket. And what I do is I run this nut in all the way backwards. I like doing that. It just makes sense to me. That's what I do. You could do something different. I don't care. I'm just showing you. Okay, so I've got that one run in. Bring that one in next. Okay, so it's snug down. I need to torque it to 30 foot-pounds. There we are. Now to take it loose. Just pop that. Okay, now we've not damaged anything and we've got it all torqued up, ready to go back on the vehicle. Okay, so we're all ready for the turbo to go back in. We've got our coolant, the black coolant line in place. We've got our AC compressor back in place, and our oil line, new oil screen is in. what I'm going to do, what I like to do is I like to put the turbo in and then slide the gasket in here. That way, because normally what happens is if you put that gasket in there, you try to get the turbo in, it falls off. So I get the turbo in there, slide the gasket in, get one of the bolts started, get the other one started, and then I make sure everything's connected to the turbo, all the lines, and then I torque these down to spec, and I torque these down to spec. That way nothing's in a bind and everything. That's why I don't like to prime these turbos. Aftermarket always likes you to prime these things. Ford, anytime we'd get them, they just wanted you to crank them before starting, so you crank for a little bit, don't let the engine start, so you can get some oil pumped through everything. There we are. Got it. Okay, first thing I'm going to go after is the coolant. Dude, if I can see it. Okay, I've got my inner coolant line between the block and the turbo in. I did that earlier. You guys saw me wiggling the turbo in. I've got our upper coolant line. I made sure it snapped into the back of the block, or the back of the cylinder head, wherever, I can't remember exactly. I've got it free right now. That way I can torque these down. I've got our oil feed and drain gasket in with the bolts started. And now that I have everything pretty much lined up, I'm going to torque the turbo down to 24 foot-pounds. Okay, next I'm going to torque underneath the oil feed and drain. Actually, we can pop that in. Okay, it wants it to be torqued, these to be torqued in 3 steps. So first it wants you to snug them to 44. My torque wrench doesn't go that low, but it does 60. So we're going to do 60. Okay, now it wants 89. Third, it wants not 30 degrees. So my torque wrench can do degrees. Let's see what it ends in. No. Except it just broke. That sucks. Now I gotta take the turbo back out. Oh, my day just got fun. Wow, did this job ever go? Go kind of crappy towards the end there. These are not, I don't know how to say, a quick job to me. They're always tedious, and you got to make sure you get everything lined up right and everything done right. And then when you have a bolt break, you know, that's a pain. It's definitely not the way I wanted this job to go. This job's been fighting me the whole time. Diagnosing it, trying to figure out everything. It just hasn't been a real easy one compared to others, but you got to keep trucking through and get everything figured out. So in the next video, you'll see how the extracting that screw goes. We'll get everything together, test drive it, and you'll see what comes up from test driving it and everything, and the job turns into more. So definitely subscribe or hit the notification bell. That way you're notified when the other video gets uploaded. That way you can watch it and see how it ends out. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Maybe I should have done different. Maybe was there something... I can do a job 100 times and you get pretty efficient at it, but looking from the outside in, sometimes you guys have really good ideas on how to do something better. It doesn't matter if you're not experienced at all or you've got 40 years on me. You can always learn something, so it's great. Hey, I'm also I'm getting a website going. I've got a friend working on it. It's real basic right now. Really what's set up on the website is just to create an email list. And the whole idea of that email list is so I can send out notifications to you guys whenever I release a video. And then also, if I have any deals going on with products that I'm associated with, and I know there's a sale coming up, or if you guys want a quote on something shipped to you, reach out to me, give me your email, send me an email through that, and I'll just really, for a good accurate quote on the part and shipping, I'd need your zip code. So your 5-digit zip code, that way I can get a decent, accurate shipping with that. Long term, I'm thinking about doing a subscription-based sales. So I know there's a lot of parts that I have customers buy repeatedly from me, and gnat flying around. And I always try to help my customers out if they're repeat customers. That way they can save money. I make a little bit of money, and we both win. It keeps me going. It helps them out. The goal on the subscription base would be you'll pay a yearly fee or monthly. I don't know. I need some feedback from everybody on what to do exactly, what their ideas, throw something out. A monthly or yearly subscription, and in that subscription, basically, you're going to get possibly technical assistance, like over email. I might do some basically one-on-one phone calls with people if they're a part of the subscription. I don't know, that's kind of what I was thinking. But then the main thing would be I'd have a store in there, and with that subscription you get these parts at this discounted rate, and then I'm going to try to put packages together to where it's an even better savings, and hopefully shipping's included in the packages. That way it's just everything's kind of a easy module. Just, hey, I need oil filter, fuel additive, air filter, I don't know, something like that. I'm looking at some companies, and the fact that you pay the subscription for the month or the year, you then get that stuff at that discounted rate. And that is just something I've been thinking about. I look at a lot of other places that offer things, and you can offer all kinds of other information out there. You can offer great customer service, great this, but their prices are still high, or they're about the same price as if you'd jump in the car and go to a parts store and get it from there. So is there anything I can do to help? And I'm not looking to make a lot of money on that. I really, it's more if I can make a little bit and help other people out, that's great to me. I think that's much more important than trying to make a killing and everything like that. Will it work long term? I don't know. It's just kind of an experiment. So that's my idea. But anyway, I rambled long enough. I appreciate everybody for watching the video. Stay tuned for the next video. Again, hit the notification bell. That way you know when the video's up. If not, I'll try to throw it out I'll put it out on Instagram and everything. That way everybody knows. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot, guys.